We are in Munising, Michigan. We're going to check out some beautiful waterfalls, take the Pictured Rock cruise, and so much more. So get your hiking boots and let's get started. This is Munising, Michigan, the hidden gem of the UP and the home of the Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. Get ready to join me as we take the tour and hike to many of the area's beautiful waterfalls. We're gonna see the sights, get on boats, explore the area, and check out all the beauty that Munising has to offer. We'll take the glass-bottom shipwreck tour, see some famous lighthouses, gaze upon beautiful Lake Superior, and whatever else we could find here on Northwoods and beyond. So buckle up and get ready. This is Munising, Michigan. Let's do this. Munising sits in the heart of the Hiawatha National Forest, which is over 894,000 acres of pure wilderness. Sitting on the southern shore of beautiful Lake Superior, the main attraction here in Munising is the Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore, which gets its name from mineral stains from groundwater that seeps out of cracks and trickles down the rock face. The name Munising is derived from the Native American word Munising, which means island in the lake, which refers to beautiful Grand Island. And there's plenty more to do here in Munising besides just the Pictured Rocks. Waterfalls, kayaking, boat tours, and more, along with many places to get out, hike and explore, and countless fun-filled activities. It's also known for its fantastic trout and salmon fishing on Lake Superior, and don't forget to visit the many unique gift shops scattered all over town. Munising was founded in 1896 after the Munising Iron Company bought the land back in 1855. The iron company eventually failed, but in 1894 a man named Timothy Nestor saw potential in the struggling village, and work soon began to build it up, and the village was incorporated in May of 1896 and was organized as an official city in 1915. Logging, milling, and shipping operations were booming, and at one time there were 26 sawmills along the shoreline. Established in 1908, the Munising Lighthouse uses a unique two-light system with a front and rear range light to create focal planes above Lake Superior to help ships navigate the East Channel into Munising Bay. The Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore was established in 1966 and was the first designated national lakeshore in the United States, covering 43 total miles of shoreline. Our first stop here in Munising is going to be the Glass-Bottom Shipwreck Tour, which is the only place on Lake Superior where you can see shipwrecks aboard a glass-bottom boat. Heading out into the bay, the tour shows you two shipwrecks in the Alger Underwater Preserve, one being the Bermuda, a 150-foot schooner that sank way back in 1870. Sitting upright in only 30 feet of water, it is popular with divers with its deck sitting only 12 feet below the surface. You'll also see the shorelines of Grand Island. At over 13,000 acres, Grand Island was home to Native American Ojibwe tribes for many generations. The first white settlers arrived in 1840 and operated a trading post for many years. The Grand Island Ferry Service departs from Munising, and Grand Island Cruises has lunch and dinner cruises showing you its 35 miles of beautiful shoreline. The Cleveland Cliffs Iron Company bought the island in the early 1900s as a private retreat, and in 1990 they sold it to the U.S. Forest Service, and Grand Island became part of the Hiawatha National Forest. Built in 1867 on the southeastern shore of Grand Island, the East Channel Lighthouse once helped to guide vessels into Munising Harbor. No longer active, the lighthouse was retired in the early 1900s after the Munising range lights were constructed. It remains a beloved local landmark, and preservation efforts have been greatly successful over the last 20 years to prevent this small wooden frame lighthouse from collapsing and to protect it from time and erosion. One of the highlights here in Munising is all the nearby waterfalls, so let's go and check a few out. Our first stop takes us to Wagner Falls, only a little over a mile outside of town. Popular and easily accessible by a fairly short walk through a beautiful wooded trail along Wagner Creek. The cascading 20-foot waterfall is a favorite among photographers due to its beauty and accessibility even during the winter months. Right around the corner from Wagner Falls, Alger Falls is another cascading waterfall just outside of town, with no need to hike as it sits literally right on the side of the road. Water cascades from Alger Creek, tumbling over a series of ledges, the highest being about 15 feet. Closer to the nearby town of Grand Marais, the trail to Sable Falls takes you down a long and winding wooden staircase to yet another beautiful cascading waterfall, tumbling 75 feet down into Sable Creek. The sandstone at the bottom of the falls is an estimated 1 billion years old. The trail continues along Sable Creek all the way to Sable Beach, where the creek flows into Lake Superior. trail to Miners Falls was definitely one of my favorites. About a half mile through lush, beautiful Northwoods forest with plenty of places to stop and rest along the walk and take in the scenery. The trail continues to another wooden staircase taking you down to the National Lakeshore's most powerful waterfall. Part of the Miners River, Miners Falls cascades some 50 feet over the sandstone into the river below. Located right within the city limits, the trail to Munising Falls takes you through a beautiful sandstone canyon. Only about a quarter of a mile, it's not a long hike at all as you walk along the incredible rock formations. Two separate wooden staircases lead to viewing platforms on each side, giving you different views of the waterfall as it drops 50 feet over a sandstone cliff. Heading up the road towards Grand Marais, the Lake Superior Overlook offers a chance to get out and gaze upon the beauty of this awesome lake. With a maximum depth of over 1,300 feet and over 31,000 square miles of surface area, Lake Superior can act more like an inland sea, creating its own weather and having an impact on the entire surrounding area. Continuing east takes you to the Log Slide Overlook. The lumber industry in the area was booming in the 1800s and is responsible for a few logging innovations, one being the big wheel, invented in the 1870s for pulling logs over stumps in rough terrain. The log slide itself was a chute placed on the slope of the dunes to slide logs down to the lake to float them to sawmills in Grand Marais. Today, the log slide is an overlook looking out over Lake Superior with views of Au Sable Point to the west. In the distance, you can make out the Au Sable Lighthouse, which was built in the 1870s to protect ships from the dangerous reefs and infamous fog that often rolls in across the lake. To the east is the Grand Sable Dunes, stretching as far as the eye can see all the way to Grand Marais. begin to wrap up our stay here in Munising and get ready for the awesome finale of the Pictured Rocks cruise, I must say that it's simply impossible to show all that the area has to offer. An absolute treasure, it would take a lifetime to experience it all, to take every trail, see every waterfall, take every tour, and see every sight. But I'm going to leave you with the most iconic of them all. So let's get ready to get on the boat and experience the most spectacular shoreline on all of the Great Lakes. Wow, Michigan's got a lot of waterfalls, and we ain't even scratched the surface. So let's get ready for the biggest attraction here in Munising, the Pictured Rock Cruise. Well, the time is finally here for the awesome Pictured Rocks cruise. So sit back and enjoy. Well, I hope you enjoyed our visit to beautiful Munising, Michigan. But stay tuned, because you never know where I'll be next.